Today's lesson is on congruence and overlapping triangles, and since we have already done several proofs containing overlapping triangles, I'm going to keep this pretty short and expect you to do most of the work here. So let's just fill in our blanks and then we'll get right to the proofs. Overlapping triangles have a common angle or a common side, or perhaps they could have both. I'm not sure. You may find it helpful to separate overlapping triangles, and I'll show you one in a proof in a minute where that might be the case. So let's just hop right in here and start with a proof. Complete this proof. Yx is congruent to Wx we're given, and Zx bisects angle YXW. So I'm going to mark those two angles right there. And let's see, what am I trying to prove? I'm trying to prove that YZ is congruent to WZ. So it looks like to me, if I could show that this triangle here, Z triangle, looks like if I could show that triangle ZYX is congruent to triangle, let me draw that in here, ZWX, then YZ and WZ would be corresponding parts of those two triangles. So let's go ahead and write this out. Start with our statements, our reasons. Number one, what are we given? We're given that YX is congruent to WX and that ZX bisects angle YXW. All that's given. Okay, so I'm going to plunge right in here and say that because I know I've got an angle bisector, I know I've got two congruent angles, and let's see what they would be. That would be angle YXZ would be congruent to WXZ. Angle WXZ, and the reason for that would be because of the definition of angle bisector. Okay, so let's see what parts of the triangle we have. We have a side, we have an angle. Oh, so look, if I take this side here that's shared and I say that it's congruent to itself, then I've got the triangles that I need here. So let's just check our order when we talk about X, Z. So we've got X and then Z, we've got X and then Z, so it looks like I'm going to use the reflexive property, and I'm going to say XZ is congruent to itself. Reflexive property of congruence. And now I've got the two triangles that I was going for above. Triangle YXZ, well, I called it something else. Let's see. I called it ZYX. Doesn't really matter. ZYX is congruent to triangle ZWX, and that's side angle side, right? Side angle side congruence postulate. And so finally, I know that those two parts, YZ and WZ, will be congruent because they're corresponding parts of congruent triangles. All right, so there we go with that first one. Pretty straightforward. Now the second one, a little more difficult. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is I've kind of set up these next three proofs. We just got three more proofs in this lesson. I gave you some hints. If you don't want hints, don't write my hints down. Do it all by yourself the way you want to do it. If you need the hints, go ahead and take them. Try to fill this one in. Then come down here to the next one. I felt like this one here is probably the most straightforward of the whole lesson, with maybe the exception of that first one. RT is congruent to AS, so TSA. So I'm looking to show that this angle right up here is going to be congruent. ST, oops, sorry, I messed that up. I'm looking to show that this little angle right here in that corner is congruent to this little angle right here. So it looks like to me what I'm going to have to do is show that that triangle is congruent to that one. And that's it for the hints I'm going to give you on that one, because I don't think that one's that hard. And then the next one is probably, it's not really that hard, it's just a little long, so I did give you a lot of hints on this one. I want you to try your best to do all those proofs and then make notes where you may have difficulty or you may have questions, and we will talk about all of this next time in class.